If you're a collector of Elvis's UK records, you're probably at least familiar with this book, and you might be lucky enough to even have it. Elvis's UK record releases from 1956 to 86, and the authors also released another book from 86 to 2002, Elvis UK 2. And they're fabulous books. There was just one problem with these books. When you open it up, you'll see what I mean. There's a lot of information in there, very, very good information, but you can see that all the photographs are in black and white. So there's been a need, I think, for a similar book showing color pictures. And I've got a book that's been around for a few years. I've just received this book. It's quite similar to the book we've just looked at. It's on the record. This one deals with Elvis's UK vinyl from 56 to 2017, so it goes up through the FTD era. And this one, in a nutshell, I would say it's an excellent companion to the original Elvis UK books. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to take a look at this one here, and we're going to be checking out how good it is by checking some of my records, because I've got, not a bad Elvis UK collection, to see if they're all in here. And later on in the video I'll tell you a little bit about a follow-up to this particular book. But let me tell you a little bit about it first of all. So it's 12-inch by 10-inch. What's that? 30 centimeters by 25 centimeters. And it tells you it's compiled by Paul Alner, or Alner. Paul, if you're watching, I do apologize if I butchered your name. And I got this book from Paul himself. And apparently it's still available. You can get it from the Elvis Shop UK, Elvis Shop London. So yeah, it's a hardback book, 450 pages. The paper is glossy, good quality paper. The binding looks to be pretty good, looks to be okay. There is the back cover. And so I'll put some pictures on the screen, or some images on screen, and just go through it, let you know how it's organized. So the first thing you get at the beginning of the book is a chronological index, singles, EPs and albums, which is useful. Then it gives you all the tax codes. These were little letters that appeared on the record labels, not all of them, but on many of them, because records were considered a luxury item back then. Then we go into the main basic single label designs, the black ones and the orange ones. And then the company sleeves that came with the records. For a long time, UK records, UK singles didn't come in picture sleeves. And then it's basically one single, one page. You can see there the different colored labels, and they also use reviews from the time, magazine cuttings, and sheet music covers, and so on. And these are really good. It really gives a flavor of the period, and especially when you get into the RCA era after the HMV singles, you notice that all the labels are black, so it's nice to have a bit of color in there. What I like as well is all the labels that you see here on the pages. It really brings it home to you just how many Elvis records were released back in the UK. That's something you don't get with the UK, the original Elvis UK book. You just get the odd label picture. There's not as much information about the releases in this book as there is in the Elvis UK book, but the writers, well, Paul, the writer, he does say in the beginning of his book that it's not meant to be an exhaustive guide. But even so, I did pick up some new information by reading this book. For instance, I didn't know that the French made LPs for the English, for the British, in 1977. Following Elvis's death, there was such a huge demand for Elvis's records that they couldn't keep up in the UK. So the French actually produced quite a few of them. So it's possible to find UK covers with records made in France with French labels, but with the UK catalogue numbers. So I'm going to be looking out for some of those. So it starts out with singles, it goes all the way up, right up until modern day singles, and then at the end there you've got some unusual black label solid centers and other releases. We then go into the EP section, which is basically the same as the first section, with extended play labels, tax codes, and then again largely it's one release per page. Same idea, covers and reviews and so on. The UK EPs came in nice picture covers, so we get a bit more colour here. And then we get into the albums. So there's a lot more variety with the album labels. So the label variants pages cover 4 pages, then you get the tax codes, and then we're into the LPs again. So what we're going to do now is have a look at the Golden Records pages. So this is an album that I found really fascinating, the original release of Elvis's Golden Records in the UK. I'm just trying to find the page for it. So here we are, this is what it looks like. The original Elvis's Golden Records LP as released in the UK on the Red Seal label. And you can see down here you've got a couple of red looking labels here. The one on the left here is actually maroon. It doesn't photograph so clearly, but the first one was on a maroon label, and then you had red labels throughout the 60s going up to the top of this page here, and then the orange ones. And you can see there's lots of pictures there, photos of Elvis. That's basically the front and back and inside covers that they used for this release. So we're just going to be focusing on the Red Seal versions. So you can see there are 5 different major label variants there. And I'm going to have a look at my copies. Let's see if they're all in there. So just hang on a second while I put these heavy books down. All right. So this is my first copy of that album, RB 16069. And it's got a very flimsy jacket. It's basically like a large booklet, and it folds out to reveal all the pictures that originally came with the American Christmas album. They're all in here. And then you have the liner notes written by Al Fulcino and Anne Fulcino. And it also tells you that in the UK, they had different songs on here. They had I Love You Because, You're a Heartbreaker, I'll Never Let You Go, and I Forgot to Remember to Forget, which replaced Loving You, Jailhouse Rock, Teddy Bear, and Treat Me Nice, which had already been released on UK records, unlike those 4 songs. So they're not exactly golden records, but they were new to the UK public. So that's the first label. I don't know how clearly that's showing, but that's actually the maroon label. That was the first copy that I bought of this record, the original UK one, and it actually had a scratch on Hound Dog. It skipped at one point, but I managed to fix it with the aid of a toothpick and a magnifying glass and a steady hand, and so I got it to the point where it was playable, but I still wanted another copy, so I bought this one here. And the cover is nicer, and when I opened up the cover to look at the booklet, I noticed that the paper was totally different. This is actually on rough paper, whereas the one we just looked at is on smooth paper. So I decided to keep both. So this one is also on that nice maroon label. The old UK records also came with these really nice thick inner sleeves as well. So that's the maroon one. And then if you think back to the book, that maroon label switched to a red label in about 1958. And they also started changing the cover designs. So this is still a gatefold, but it doesn't have as many pictures on the inside or pages, and in fact the pictures are different. In fact, I'll show you this gatefold in a moment. I've got a cleaner copy. And so if you think back to that maroon label that we just looked at, this one is a red label. So that one came after the maroon label. And when we get into the 60s, we've still got the gatefold cover. This one's got the same booklet inside as the previous one. It's got 4 pages of pictures. I think in some gatefolds these pictures are arranged in a different order. And this one is actually on the small RCA Victor, small logo RCA Victor label, and it's still red. So that one will be from about 63. Then at some stage, a little bit later on in the 60s, they got a little bit tight-fisted with the gatefold sleeve, and they took away all the pictures on the inside except this one. And you can see there, it's like a little flap here for where the our pocket where the record goes. And then you'll know that the black label records came out with a red dot, or with this red seal label they used a black dot. There are quite a few variants of the black dot label. So that's that one. And then they got rid of the gatefold sleeve altogether in the mid-60s, somewhere in the mid-60s. And that is another black dot one. This is from 68. And then right at the end of the 60s, gatefold sleeve long gone by now, it came out on the new RCA label. Still red seal, but you can see it's got that modern RCA label, and this is a small red label. So that's 5 different label variants there, major differences in those labels, and they're all included in that book. This book here, Elvis on Record. So as I say, it's a really good companion to the Elvis UK book. It doesn't have the information, the text content that you get in the original book, but the quality of the images is very good, and there are a lot of them. Like I say, it doesn't show every single variant, but it's certainly enough for the audience that it was intended for, which basically someone who's not a total maniac when it comes to Elvis, like me. In Japanese, by the way, they use the word maniac to talk about hardcore collectors. Maniac coming from the English word maniac. So anyone who's a collector, not necessarily records, but other things too, someone who is really serious about a hobby, they're called a maniac or maniac in Japanese. So it's not for Elvis UK maniacs, but it is certainly for people with a passing interest in Elvis's UK records. Very, very enjoyable read, and it's great to see all those color pictures. Now, I do have a little bit of news regarding a follow-up to this book. So Paul has contacted me and told me that he's actually working on a 2-volume follow-up. The first book is going to be from 56 to 65, I think I'm right in saying. And then a second one will be from 66, presumably, to 1981. So it doesn't go as far as this one, but each book will have about 600 pages, A4 size. So really serious, hardcore stuff. And I'll put some images on the screen, and you can see that in the new book it will actually have images of each of the different variants. So in this book, the first book, you just get a sample of all the different variants, but in his new books you're going to get the whole shebang. And so anyway, yeah, if you want to know how to get that, they'll be coming out in about 6 months, I think he told me. So if you're interested in that, just drop me a note in the comments, and I'll try and find out how to get hold of that book for you. As I said before, the book is still available from the Elvis Shop London, so get in touch with those guys if you're interested in getting this. Thanks again to Paul, if you're watching, for sending me this, and thanks also to Dell Baggett, a viewer of mine who actually put me in touch with Paul. And that's it for this video. Thanks again for watching. If you have any questions, comments, drop them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Take care. Cheers.